Happy Saturday to all. Coming here live. Box seats, North Attleboro, 500 East Washington Street, North Attleboro. Hashtag sitting in the box seats. Your host at E2G founder. Kind of get you ready for the weekend of sports. We got lucky this weekend, and yesterday was the start of it with the playoff games in baseball. And are we allowed to call a preseason basketball game a classic? Because that Celtics Raptors game last night was very good for a preseason game up in Montreal. So for a city that doesn't have a team, they definitely got their money's worth of the NBA. We're going to take you through the weekend, get you prepared, get you down here, food, bevs, best staff around. And we'll start with the baseball schedule. The Phillies looking to close out the Braves. Yes, the world champions are on the brink of elimination after a 9-1 loss yesterday in Philadelphia. What a hostile crowd. They would have eaten their young if they were allowed to. It was loud. Just to tell you, everything around there was packed at like 11 o'clock. My friends from Philly sending up pictures. Look what we're doing. How's Fenway? Joking around with me. All right. But I'm definitely pulling for them. So Braves at Phillies, 2:07 first pitch today. The Phils lead the series 2-1. Charlie Morton will try to keep the Braves season going. And Noah Syndergaard, who was traded during the season from the Angels to the Phillies, the former Met, formerly known as Thor, will get the ball today in Game 4 at Citizens Bank Park at 2:07. Phillies lineup yesterday just went off to the point where, 6 runs were on the board before you knew what happened. And they have that ability to just keep the train moving. It's a smaller park. You're going to get your home runs, but they really did hit the ball and feed off the crowd yesterday in a 9-1 win. We'll see the resiliency of the world champions today at 2:07 down at Citizens Bank Park. 4:07 today. For the first time since Tom Brady was a rookie, Lance McCullers versus George Kirby, with Houston leading 2-0 in the series. The Seattle Mariners are hosting a baseball playoff game. Should be a very lively crowd. We've seen them putting people in the stands just to watch on the screen and, have that opportunity to see their team play. So there's a lot of enthusiasm. And I believe tomorrow's Seahawks game also depends on this, what the game time is going to be. But Alvarez has been unbelievable. Just carrying the team, walk off in Game 1. He's just got that clutch gene. Like some guys have it, some guys don't. Tonight in Cleveland, and for all the Patriots fans who are heading down there and watching, if you can get out to the Guardians game, the prices have dropped big time. Series tied at 1-1. The Guardians winning in 10 innings yesterday. Luis Severino on the mound tonight for the Yankees, and Tristan McKenzie on the mound for the Guardians. 7:37 first pitch. Should be a pretty good atmosphere. Another city that's got it pretty good with the football game and 2 baseball games in the next 2 days. Aaron Judge has really been struggling. 7 strikeouts in his first 7 at-bats in the playoffs. They weren't able to hold an early 2-0 lead yesterday. Giancarlo got him on with an opposite field home run yesterday. Got him started early. And any comments, anything like that, just throw them in there. I'm going back and forth between my notes and that. So if I don't see it, I'm sorry. I'll be back to it. Tonight, I actually stayed up last night and watched this game. I never thought this was going to happen. What a crowd in San Diego. The Dodgers looking to stave off elimination at San Diego. Tyler Anderson against Joe Musgrove, with the Padres up 2-1 in the series. All those moves the Padres have made in the last few days were for tonight. To get themselves in position tonight. To get themselves into a situation where they're in a series with the Dodgers and they can mash and pitch. A 2-1 win last night and the crowd was just in it, and we're seeing the true Dodgers. Newsflash, Dodgers fans, you really haven't won a World Series since '88. You won a tournament a few years ago. Congratulations. You haven't won a World Series since '88. Padres look to close it out tonight. So we'll see what happens. So 4 playoff games today: 2:07, 4:07, 7:37, 9:37. The game times in order for this evening, and we're coming to you live from box seats, opening up in a little bit. North Attleboro, 500 East Washington Street. Come on down. Asia on the bar. What else can you have? Can you visit Asia in North Attleboro? Should be a hashtag. So we are going to jump to the Bruins. Nice start the other night. We had Vince Riley the other night on from the Hockey Writers, and just the style the Bruins are playing, like they're really activating the D. This is so different than what we've seen for so many years from the Bruins. Guys jumping up. They're giving up rushes the other way, so the goaltenders are gonna have some moments where they're gonna have some odd man rushes coming right back at them. But they're activating the D. Carlo a little bit more offensive. Pasternak with a 4-point night, just driving up his price tag at this point. Krejci comes back, has a good game. Bergeron scores a goal. Those top 2 lines look really good, and that's without Marchand. So getting the goals, and tonight they take on the Arizona Coyotes. If you haven't watched the Arizona Coyotes, I had them on the dish the other night, just see what they were like against Pittsburgh. It was 3-0 with 14:55 left in the first period. I went on Facebook and eliminated the Coyotes from playoff contention. It's just a sad situation because they could have something out there. Vegas can do it. I don't know why Phoenix can't do it and draw the crowd in, especially when you've produced with hockey in the area. Austin Matthews being from there, like you would think that would garner more interest towards hockey and maybe more hockey playing in that area. We'll see what happens. College football time. Number 10, Penn State. 5-0, 2-0 in the Big Ten at number 5, Michigan in the Big House. 6-0 and 3-0 in the Big Ten. These teams are, best way of putting it, going to be physical today. This is going to be a typical Big Ten physical game, pounded out each side. You look at, Singleton and Corum, the running backs, both high-level touchdown scorers and getting the yards. Corum already has 11 touchdowns this year. That's insane, 735 yards. And the passing game is all right with, both teams, but, it's the Big Ten. And what you're going to see is a lot of ground and pound in this. Defense is standing up. Neither team has had a real test to this point. The biggest test for Penn State may have been going to an Auburn team that is down, but at least going down to Jordan Hare and whooping up on Auburn and making that happen. And Michigan is kind of close to the long to 6-0. So this is the first real matchup for each one of these teams and kind of build a little supremacy. You got Ohio State up there too. So it's kind of looking like a 3-team race in the Big Ten. So this is going to be a big game. Michigan favored by 7 at home. We got a noon kickoff. It's the Fox game with Gus Johnson and Joe Klatt. So you're going to get great announcers for this one. 3:30 p.m. Alabama, number 3 in the country, goes to Tennessee, number 6 in the country. 3:30 kickoff. The national game on CBS, SEC on CBS. You've got some stars in this game. And Alabama has won the last 15 matchups between these two teams. So Tennessee is trying to get off the snide against Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. Just watch Anderson off the edge. This is going to be the interesting matchup. is his ability to chase down, make plays, contain the edge against Hendon Hooker, who has almost 1,500 yards passing and 10 touchdowns. But he's a dual threat, made a ton of plays. We saw it in the Florida game. And these teams, they're going to be physical, but this is interesting. This is Tennessee's shot to make up for a lot. They're going to find out if they're real or not in this one. And we've seen Alabama go on the road this year and have a tough time with the Texas team with a hostile crowd. You're going to have a hostile crowd in volunteer country. So they're 5-0. Alabama's 6-0. I don't even know what to say. Alabama is a 9-point favorite. I don't see that. I think it's going to be much closer than you think. And I think a big reason is I don't think as good as Alabama is, they're not last year's Alabama or previous year's Alabama on the offensive side of the ball outside the numbers. That's where I see the difference with this team. And I got to see how they are on Hooker, just containing him in every possible way. And Anderson's going to be a huge part of that. He's number one on my big board for the NFL draft next year. So keep an eye on Anderson, 31 off the edge. Hell of a player. Moving on, since I didn't give you that. Oklahoma State, number 8 in the country. 5-0, 2-0 in the conference at TCU. 5-0, 2 in the conference. The difference is TCU has had a tougher schedule. They've beaten 2 ranked teams this year. Oklahoma 55-24 and Kansas 38-31 on the road. The other side, Oklahoma State is beating Baylor, who was ranked 16th, 36-25. When you see this conference at any point in time, you're usually expecting points. It's just kind of the way of the Big 12. And I don't think these two teams are going to disappoint at all with that. The game is on ABC. Just to let you know, they both allow over 400 yards per game. And some of that could be, yards that don't matter at the end of the game against the prevent defense. But, should be a good game. Sanders, Duggan, behind quarterback, almost equal numbers passing, and interception and touchdown rates are unbelievable. 12-2 for Sanders, and Duggan is 14-1 for TCU. So he's really taking care of the ball, and that's very important. And with them being home, that's good. Not to have turnovers and take the crowd out of the game, and let Oklahoma State, who is the higher ranked team, have a little bit of momentum. TCU is favored by 4.5 points in this game. Syracuse. NC State at Syracuse. Undefeated Syracuse under Dino Babers. Been an interesting season. Some wins late. They're 2-0 in the ACC. NC State is 5-1 and 1-1 in the conference. Biggest difference is, NC State played Clemson to, a 30-20 game on October 1st. Syracuse hasn't beaten a ranked team. Probably the best team they played is UVA. Virginia, 22-20. They won that game. Both these defenses have been pretty good as far as yards allowed, both under 300 yards per game, which is really good to say they were involved in blowouts and a lot of prevent defense. So this should be an interesting one on the Hill in the Dome. Should be loud. Syracuse is favored by 4. This game can be found on the ACC network. And just if you want to feel old, the leading receiver for Syracuse, Oronde Gadsden Jr. We remember Oronde Gadsden, former Miami Dolphin wide receiver. Mississippi State at Kentucky. And this is the 7:30 kick. It's on the SEC network. Mississippi State comes in at 5-1, 2-1 in the SEC. Kentucky 4-2, 1-2 in the conference. So that's where their problem has been. Losses in the conference. They're taking care of business outside of it, but as far as inside the conference, they're trying to get to 500 with a win at home. Mississippi State is favored by 3.5 points tonight. Just looking at what they've done, Texas A&M was their big win, 42-24. They beat Arizona also this year, and Arkansas, who was ranked earlier in the season. Kentucky's losses at Mississippi and against South Carolina, who's unranked, 24-14 to Beamer and the Gamecocks. So this is one of your 2 night games that you can keep an interest on. And the other one, number 7, USC Trojans. Yes, they're number 7 in the country before they jump over to the Big Ten. Against number 20, the Utah Utes, who are 4-2 and 2-1 in the conference. As I said, the Trojans are 6-0 and 4-0 in the Pac-12. Utah is actually favored by 3.5. It's an 8:00 Fox game, and that's usually that's usually just points for being at home. Utah last week with a loss, 42-32 to undefeated UCLA. They lost to Florida opening week, and USC last week with a win, 30-14 over Washington State. Not really running murderers row, but they're winning conference games, and that's what you want to do. And tonight, if you're a draft person, you get an interesting matchup. Jordan Addison, wide receiver at USC. Someone talking about his wide receiver 1 in the draft coming up this year. Just some articles read. And he will be going up against Clark Phillips III, the corner at Utah, who is a possible first-round pick at corner. A little smaller sized, but we'll see what happens. See if he's, stapled to him and man-for-man coverage on the outside, or, if he's just playing aside and they can find Addison some favorable matchups. Should be an interesting game tonight. Utah, again, last year, they lost some players, Devin Lloyd amongst them, who was the heart and soul of that defense. Lose a few tough games. And probably what I'd say about them is there's always a chance with this team because they're so well coached. And again, they play very physical. In the Pac-12, which is not common, they're one of the tougher teams that you're going to find out there. And we saw that when they went down to Florida and lost in the last minute against the Gators. So that's the college football slate of most of the games tonight. 2 other games of note. Number 4, Clemson is at Florida State at 7:30 tonight. Clemson was at BC last week. Tight game through the first half. Took over at halftime. Went on to win big. But back-to-back road games. Florida State been playing with a little bit more swag than they have in the last few years. Keep an eye on them. Loud crowd, Florida State night game. Might be closer than people think. So that's another one to kind of keep an eye on. And one that's a rivalry, and surprisingly, both teams are unranked. This is very uncommon. LSU at Florida at 7 p.m. tonight. And, there's been some great games between these 2 teams. And, they may both be unranked, but they've given fits to some of the ranked teams that they have played. It's the SEC. You never know. You may get, seriously, a 10-7 game or a 42-38 game. We got to see what we're going to get out of these 2 teams tonight. But it's a rivalry. They're both prestige schools. They bring in high recruits. Should be interesting. So, just another game to kind of keep your eye on tonight. It's 7 p.m. Tomorrow, NFL action. If you're not ready for this one, holy Lord, I don't know what's wrong with you. Week 6, I have been looking forward to this. 4:25 tomorrow. A rematch of one of the greatest games I've seen. Last year's playoffs, 13 seconds away. The Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have appeared to have the Bills' number in the big moments in the playoffs. They've knocked them out of the playoffs the last 2 years. Last year, again, that overtime clock, that was one of the greatest football games I've ever seen that wrapped up an unbelievable weekend on divisional weekend. Mahomes and Allen, nothing more needs to be said. Where this game is going to be won is, can the offensive line, protect Mahomes enough because of the ability of Russo and Von Miller, and Jordan Phillips is supposed to be back. I'm not sure of the status of Ed Oliver, but what they did is they went out this season to get pass rush for Patrick Mahomes so he doesn't have the time back there. So it's going to be interesting. This is where the Bills put their money and the chips on the table, was on that defensive front to defend against Patrick Mahomes and make him get rid of the ball quicker. Tre'Davious White is probably back this week. The Bills have been without him this year, all-pro corner. They're without Micah Hyde with the neck injury, but Jordan Poyer will be out there tomorrow. So this is going to be interesting. Edmonds, Milano, they got to be really good on Kelsey tomorrow. And it's a different group of wide receivers than they've seen in the past. Sky Moore, MVS, Juju. It's a different group than they've seen in the past. And on the Bills side, Gabe Davis, remember last year, was 201 yards, 4 touchdowns in the playoff game. Who covers him? And you got Diggs on the other side. I mean, this has all the making of points being up there. And it comes down to something I talked about a few weeks ago. Who makes the key stop? Which one of these teams gets off the field on third down in an important moment and gets the ball back to their offense and either takes the lead or builds on the lead? That's where this game is going to be won, and that's where Buffalo has put their chips. And not that Kansas City hasn't, because, they've got a good front. They drafted pretty defensive heavy this year after the Tyreek Hill trade. So, a little bit of an arms race in the AFC between these two teams. I just think the Bills have a Chiefs problem. I need to see them get over the hump and the big spot. They could win tomorrow. They've won there in the regular season before. They're probably going to meet again. But they got to get that mentality that they can go into Arrowhead and win a game. And this may also decide where that game is played come January. Because they look like the supreme two teams in the AFC. Is a lot of teams are middling, and the Miami Dolphins have come crashing down to earth ever since the Tua incident. The city of Philadelphia. You people are animals. You would have eaten your young yesterday at that game. It was so amazing what that atmosphere was like. And a weekend of sports. 8:20. When the Cowboys go to Philadelphia, it's always an event. My key matchup in this one is, what do they do with Micah Parsons, and is he the Jalen Hurts spy? Is he just lined up to keep him from getting to the edge, run him down, pressure him up the middle with timely blitzes? Micah Parsons against Jalen Hurts is the key to this whole game, because if Hurts can start getting the ball out to his guys, get Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders in the pass and run game involved. And, Parsons isn't a big part of causing the pressure. The Eagles are going to put up some points. We'll see who the quarterback is for Dallas tomorrow, whether it's Dak or Cooper Rush. I'd probably stick with Cooper for one more week. But this is one of the key games of the year. I think they play week 18 also, that game in Dallas. So that may be for the division at that point. But the other factor you got to remember is the Giants are kind of lingering behind these two teams, and they've got a big game tomorrow. So the NFC least has become the NFC beast again. It feels like it's like 1987 all over again. These teams are just all beaten up on the rest of the league. And just a rant on the Giants. What DeBall has done with this Giants team is absolutely incredible. They play for him, they play for each other. You can see the way they are on the sidelines. And there's no, like, Kenny Galladay makes this much money, so he has to play. Nah, David Sills is out there. Doesn't matter. Richie James is playing wide receiver. Darius Slayton's out there. What you make doesn't matter. It's what you bring to the team. And that's both sides of the ball. And they have the Ravens tomorrow. And I think they're a tough matchup for the Ravens for the reason that you have such a good defensive front and athletic edges. You need that. Because what you always want to do is force Lamar Jackson to go out, 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 and string it out and get him out of bounds. 2-yard gain. Not find a hole between the guard and the center and go for 27. That's what I think Wink Martindale will do. Put people in the right positions, the right gaps to string it out and force him to throw outside the numbers. Having knowledge of a player helps a coaching staff. Patriots and Browns tomorrow. To all of you heading down there, have a great time. Go cheer on the Guardians. Go have fun tonight and tomorrow. We'll know more today about who flew and who did not fly to Cleveland as far as the quarterback situation. If Mac doesn't make the trip, he obviously isn't playing. I think it's going to be Zappe and Garrett Gilbert tomorrow as your two active quarterbacks for the New England Patriots. Interesting game, running backs. Chubb and Kareem Hunt on one side, and Ramondre Stevenson, big game last week, showing he can be that bell cow back. And what a game by him, because it was like the last 45 snaps he had to play or something like that because of the injury to Damian Harris. So he was out there pass protecting, catching the ball, running the ball, just on the field the whole time. And that's not common with the New England Patriots. They really haven't had that bell cow back for a long time. They've always had a guy who comes in on third down, makes plays, contributes. They brought Kevin Harris up, the 6th-round pick from South Carolina. See if we get him out there tomorrow. Pierre Strong should probably be active. So the two running backs that were drafted forced out on the field, and we're going to learn more about this 2022 draft class if those two guys play tomorrow. And what we've learned about the 2022 draft class so far, Marcus Jones, incredible returner, starting to play more in the slot. Jack Jones, his ability to backpedal, put his foot in the ground, and come up on a ball is like Asante Samuel, Ty Law level. Just the way his feet are, the way he's able to come up and make a play on the ball. He is such a ball hawk, and he's reading things, and he's only going to get better. Bailey Zappi, obviously, 4th-round pick. Not hearing a lot about Cole Strange. Hey, the Rams would probably like Cole Strange right now. Huh? With the way their quarterback's getting killed? Still laughing, McVay? No. I don't think you are. Cole Strange has been really good. They picked a player who fit the system of what they want to run, and it's worked out. And we were all wrong, and they were right to this point in time. Just kind of want to talk about home crowds before we wrap up with a few things. See that game in Philly yesterday? See those people standing from 5 minutes before opening pitch right through the game, just bringing their team through? Or that crowd in San Diego, how awesome they were? What was going on in New York yesterday? Was that a home playoff crowd or an oil painting? It was unbelievable. How quiet are you people? How spoiled are you people? I understand you won 20 World Series before the JFK assassination. I understand you live on that. The fact is, you haven't won since 2009. You kind of think it's owed to you, and you didn't bring anything yesterday. No noise, no passion. You were 3rd place yesterday on the crowd level, a distant 3rd. Those other cities embarrassed you with the passion for their team. And it's something, I don't know if it's a birthright thing or thinking you deserve, but you may not see another game this year. And if you have a game 5, kind of bring it, pretend you care. and show up. We don't need that many empty seats. Box seats info for today. Today's starting lineup. Where else can you visit Asia in North Attleboro? Right here. She's cutting fruit over there behind the bar today. Come enjoy her and the staff. And today, prime rib after 5. Oh, have you had the prime rib here yet? You know, Buddy Andre's favorite thing is like prime rib. It's absolutely incredible. The thing I love here too, mashed potatoes. Really, really good. It's coming from a big guy. I'm not 120 pounds, so this comes with some substance. Bratwurst sub, grilled bratwurst sub, and a bratwurst dinner. Harvest ravioli, pumpkin and squash ravioli, in a rich sauce with hints of sage, thyme, and cumin. This is why I need glasses. And drink specials today: the Down East pumpkin cider and Shipyard pumpkin drafts are now available. Apple cider sangria and the pear martini. How is this pear martini, AJ? Just started making it the other day, so this is fresh. Like, come in and be one of the first ones to be able to tell everybody else about it. So that's the specials for today. And stuff down here. Tomorrow, obviously, the Patriots at 1. That Bills-Chiefs game, 4:25. Full day of college football and baseball playoffs. 4 playoff games. The Bruins, 6 very important college football games. With the TVs here, you can come here, and as long as you have a good neck, you will be able to go boom, 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 and keep up with everything. And you'll hear people cheering over here, and you'll look over at that TV. So you need to come down to box seats and enjoy. Opening in Franklin soon, too. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. Got our info out. This is like in, out, There's comments, but more of information, get you ready for the weekend. And the Monday night game here, Denver at the Chargers, Russell Wilson. Things aren't very good in Denver right now with Russell Wilson. Just the way it was told to me is that team is 52-1, meaning 52 players and one other guy. So things are not good there in Denver. I can be found at E2G Founder on Twitter, and we'll be back to join you with more E2G Sports Network. Like, subscribe, tweet, whatever you got to do, or come on down here to box seats, enjoy a meal, enjoy some drinks, enjoy some games, and let's enjoy your weekend and be safe out there, everybody. Signing off for the night, E2G Sports. This is hashtag Sitting in the Box Seats NA. And you've been watching Sitting in the Box Seats. And we'll be joining you again soon. Have a great night. And remember, we are the Unsung Sports Grid.